Okay, the next thing I want to show you is the throttle linkage on this Predator motor, and this is what I was very unimpressed with. I kind of understand why they designed it this way, but I'm going to take off this air filter top to help show what I'm talking about here, but oh, sorry about that. Anyhow, the throttle only requires a small amount of movement to go from idle to full throttle, which they rate at 3,600 RPMs. And I'm going to show you that here. Get off of there. Dang, these bolts are on. Anyhow, this is at idle. This is at full throttle. The distance that this moves, it may look like more on the video, but it's only like 1/8 of an inch, maybe 3/16. And it pulls this rod, and then there's a spring here which pulls the governor, and then that connects over to here and goes over to your butterfly valve on your engine. Well, that valve, or that lever, only moves about 1/4 of an inch. And I'm going to go get a ruler to put there so I can show you. Okay, I have of course the gas tank off now, and that helps see how the linkage all works. The only difference between how this came out of the box and in terms of the linkage is I did back off on this screw, so there's a space here, and I moved the spring over one to hopefully make this less sensitive. But as you can see, it only takes, so this is idle, and you only have to go that far to get all the way over to full speed. And what that causes is if you come back here to your throttle, all you have to do is move it that far to go from idle to full throttle. Now, by backing off on this spring here, it will allow you to push the throttle arm further, stretching out this governor spring, or the spring to the governor, and so it does allow more movement there. And what that does, or when you'd have it set up, is go from idle, full throttle, and then it allows you to smash the throttle all the way down, like you'd want to hold it when you're driving, so you have a good grip. But I don't like the idea of not having any mid-range throttle, and there's some things that I will do in a video to show you on this build by changing lengthening arms and maybe moving linkages back on arms to make you have more, so that you have more control over the RPMs. That's basically all you're doing, is trying to, have a little more control where this lever, have it more work like that, real slow, instead of how it works now. I can see why go-kart, or this motor, is mainly made for go-karts, and you know how they work. They're either idle or full throttle, I guess. I kind of want to do something a little bit different than that. So we'll see how that works out, and I'll show you in future videos. Okay, this is the throttle cable, and one of the things I wanted to show you is how to figure out the length of your lever pull. Here it is set up. Here's the lever, and what you do is measure the distance between here and the end of your cable. This is the simplest way to get it. And then when you pull on the lever all the way back, you measure the distance that the cable was pulled, and you subtract the two numbers to get the length of the cable. In this case, it's 1 1/4 inches, and I was able to get it set up. As you, from my other video, you know that I wanted some mid throttle, and I'll stop it here and put it back together and show you how I got to that. Okay, here's the back of the carburetor, and you can see the butterfly valve there, with it fully open, and I'll turn it here to close. And when that's closed, let's see if I can get it here, this part right here stops on the idle screw, but that's actually not stopping it right there. It's being stopped by the butterfly valve, and because I have this idle screw backed out all the way, even though it's still sticking out, it's actually being stopped by the butterfly in there. And then full throttle is being stopped by the butterfly as well. This thing doesn't stop anything, so it's only there to if you need to adjust the idle out, and then it'll push on that tab. So anyhow, the arm that I welded on gives it a little more movement there, but you can see, because it goes by the choke lever, that misses it by about 1/16 of an inch. Alright, this is a throttle linkage after I put it back together. This is how I'm doing it to get that extra length. Anyhow, I cut off the tab here. You could also just bend this tab down. This prevents you from moving this more than 1/4 inch. Of course, I'm taking off the governor. That really causes problems with trying to increase the length of the throttle. Coat hanger again, and I increased the length of the throttle arm, but when it goes by here, it's only 1/16 away. So if you need to increase the length more, you'd have to go up and then over the top of this choke arm, to get a longer throttle arm or lever. Anyhow, so you also need to bend this little arm up right here, this throttle arm, so that it'll go over this bolt. I decided not to mount to these two screws here because they you put the gas tank on this one and it kind of is in the way. This one didn't really work for me. This one gives a more direct pull, and when you mount through this cowling, if you're out further like I am, you won't be into the magneto with your nut on the back. I also went out here and put a arm on here to keep the throttle cable away from the engine and that. So what it does is you can work it like this, and you can see it bends that remote cable, case I need to work it while I'm starting it, rev it up. But then I can come down here and hit this and work it that way. And anyhow, these two springs here, I needed to go to two springs to give that recovery. I might have to do some stuff in here to loosen that up, but just to have enough power to bring it back and without springing or stretching out the spring, I used two of these type. So there it is. A little bit of, oh, that's right. This is the other thing I was pointing out is this right here comes out, and I'm going to have to probably tape that in there so that it doesn't cause linkage or cause the throttle arm to not come back. So there, it works just fine, but if it pulls out, gets caught up here on this Jaguar 6mm coupler, it causes some problems. So, like that. Anyhow, that's how I'm going to get it, how I'm working it.